All right, so um, I've gotten, of course, more emails and more emails, and it's actually been kind of fruitful and very fruitful. A lot of people are looking at the things that I've said, just the little things. We haven't even got to the meat of anything really yet. Just trying to, get people's attention is what I'm doing, and I'm trying to do it in a Christian way. I'm not trying to be rude or try to be degrading to a dispensationalist, but I am going to be a little bit rough in the sense I want to get your attention, right? Um, so there's a lot of people, and I've dealt with this in a video just when I was out of town. I didn't get too much into it. I'm not going to get too much into it now. I'm just going to give another example of how I believe that this form of eschatology that I'll be teaching and get more in depth the further I go is more literal when it takes the Bible more literal than dispensationalism does. And I believe it does it by far, just very, very literal. So we'll go to Luke. Luke, I believe it's 21. Luke 21. And we'll look at verse 20 again. And it says, "But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies and recognize that her desolation is near." Let me just stop and say something there. I think I've covered this before, but I'm going to repeat myself often in my videos because our best teacher is repetition, I believe. So that when it talks about the desolation, it's talking about the abomination of desolation. The reason Luke wrote it this way is for us Gentiles to understand what Matthew was saying when he said the abomination of desolation. So he defines it. When the abomination of desolation, well, what is that? That's when the armies surround Israel, surround Jerusalem, because they're about to destroy Jerusalem. So it says that but when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then recognize that her desolation is near. Then those who are in Judea must flee to the mountains, and those who are in the midst of the city must leave, and those who are in the country must not enter the city. Okay? And then he goes on to talk, because these are the days of vengeance. Now, I'm not going to go any further in the text because I want to make this quick and to the point. But do you realize that when it talks about this desolation, this prophecy that Jesus gave at that time was a prophecy for them. And just to give you a backdrop on that too, I don't want to leave you hanging before I get any further. But if you look up just a few verses in verse 12, it says, "But before all these things, they will lay hands on you and will persecute you, delivering you to the synagogues and prisons, bringing you before kings and governors for my name's sake." Now, sometimes it says you. You're going to see that all through Matthew 21, 22, 23, and 24 especially. And you're going to see that in Luke, and you're going to see that in all the synoptic gospels where they're given the same account and just a different perspective of the same account. You're going to see that used. So you see that it's talking about them. That's why Jesus Christ said all these things will come upon this generation, not some generation that's in the far future. I mean, just way out there, like a dispensationalist will teach. So he's talking about something that will happen. And let me just give you, I'll just give you one, but I will definitely give more in future studies. Like I said, these are just little video bites just to kind of get you to think a little bit and get a little bit more interested in this. But if you look at Eusebius, what he said, Eusebius said that the people of the church in Jerusalem were commanded by an oracle given by revelation before the war to those in the city who were worthy of it to depart and dwell in one of the cities of Perea, which is called Pella. To it, those who believed on Christ traveled from Jerusalem, so that when the holy men had altogether deserted the royal capital of the Jews, Jerusalem, and the whole land of Judea. So they left. And what is he saying? They did that because Jesus Christ told that generation that they need to leave Jerusalem once they see the armies of Rome and the armies surround Jerusalem. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, after they surrounded Jerusalem, those armies, for just a moment, I don't know how many days it was, and I'll get into that later, but they left. And nobody knows why they left. Rome all of a sudden started to attack, and then they left. They surrounded Jerusalem, attacked a little bit, and then left. And that gave them, the Christians, time to leave. Guess who lived? Who survived that? Only the Christians that heeded to the prophecy of what Jesus Christ said. Once they saw that happen and those Roman soldiers took off, they left. The Romans came back and destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD. Guys, this is serious. There's a lot of history. I can see at least 4 quotes down here, which I'd read them, but for sake of time, I'm not going to, but I will in future videos. Think about what's going on when Jesus Christ says that all these things will come upon this generation. When he talks about you, and he's using it towards the people then. It was future for them, but since it's already fulfilled, it's past for us. So I don't think people are wanting to understand that. Dispensationalism is very catchy. It's fun because it makes us, and people we're very, how can I say it, into ourselves. We are. So if dispensationalism is right, then it teaches an eschatology that puts all the, I guess we'll say it this way, the fun stuff on us, that we're living in the last days. Hey, it's been 2,000 years, and if our calendar, since it's off, and Christ should return, and we're going to be raptured out in this secret rapture that the Bible does not teach. But if you think about dispensationalism is exciting, and we do as human beings want to be part of this biblical history, I guess you can say, of what's going on. So it's exciting to people, and a lot of people don't want to leave dispensational thought because to them it's exciting. But I'd rather have truth than excitement. I want to know, what does the text really say, and can it be backed by history? Everything I'll be teaching and all these little videos, for the most part, will be able to be backed up by history, if not all of it. I don't want to make a broad statement without having all the evidence laid out first. But I'm doing a lot of more, just been at work writing down notes. So much prophecy in the Old Testament that's fulfilled at that time, and so much Old Testament scriptures that actually help you understand that the period of 70 AD in Jerusalem, that I'm actually just been underlining, color coding the Bible I'm using, and just going from there. I did make one change as far as my, I'm glad I did this. Maybe this will help people that are still watching the video. I switched to using the NASB, and now I can see. This is because when I read the Bible, I enjoy reading the ESV or even the King James because I'm used to it. But when you study, the way the NASB is set up is really nice, and has helped me so much, because when it quotes the Old Testament, it'll have it in the lowercase capital letters, and it will have added words in italics. It'll have really good footnotes, variant footnotes, good cross-references, especially the Allen Reader's edition. But I'm really thinking I'm going to have to stick with the NASB on this, and of course the Darby translation, because when I'm dealing with the word church in later videos, this doesn't put the word church. It puts the proper translation, which would be, well, I wouldn't say church is not proper, but it's more precise to say assembly or congregation. That way you can deal with the so-called replacement theology, which there's nothing, there is no such thing as replacement theology. And I'll get into that in another video too. So hopefully that whets your appetite a little bit. That no, the church did not replace Israel. Rather, nothing was replaced. The assembly has been through the Old Testament all the way through the New, and now it's just that everybody from all nations can come into that assembly. So I hope this is a blessing to somebody. I'd like to cover so much more, but I've already done 9 minutes of video, and I'm trying to keep up with everybody's attention span here on YouTube. So I hope this is a blessing to somebody. I hope I'm getting you to think. Please email me if you have any questions, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Of course, they're coming in by droves now, but I will try to touch more in the videos. If you don't mind longer videos, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the emails. If you want me to go 30, 40 minutes and just scripture after scripture after scripture, explanation, history, context, fulfillment of prophecy, all those type of things, I'll be more than happy to do a few videos here and there. Of course, they'd be few and far between, but I'd love to do 30 to 40 minute videos and be able to get more content in. So let me know. Well, until next time, guys, good day. God bless.